Hello, I'm Mk2. In today's video we are going to be looking at part 2 of the Mk2 Stalwart restoration project, which is this vehicle right here. So this is how the vehicle looks at the moment, and I have already made a good start actually on starting to take out bits to remove the petrol engine. So to show you a little look in the back how it is at the moment. This is the Rolls-Royce 8-cylinder petrol engine. And you can see I've already removed all the deck plates and all the beams, and it's pretty much ready to lift out. Still a few things left to do to take off, but I've undone all the bits and pieces, and then you can see this ring of bolts here is all undone. So in a moment the whole engine should just slide away from the gearbox. Here's a load of the bits and pieces I've already removed from the back. That's the rear door plate with the hitch, that's the radiator, the fan pack, and they are all the floor frames which were inside. And then this over here, this is the gearbox that came with the new diesel engine. So I don't think there's anything actually wrong with this gearbox, but the one that I got in it is absolutely working fine, so that it would be silly not to reuse that one really. But the really important thing on this piece here is this little piece here. This is the bell housing from the Bedford 500 diesel engine. You can see it's totally different to the Rolls-Royce. It's got its own thrust bearing and carrier all within it. And then this here is the adapter plate. So this mates the bell housing from the Bedford to the Stalwart gearbox. That plate is the important piece. You need to be able to get that to be able to mount these bolts in on the other one. So we're going to be stealing that one off this, keeping this as a spare, and then hopefully the Bedford engine will slide straight into the vehicle. Right, now I know a lot of you will be asking, why are you changing the original petrol engine? As I've already said, the petrol engine in this one just isn't very reliable. You leave it any length of time, it's difficult to start. It doesn't like ticking over either, which is actually really annoying for using the crane. So you could have it revving quite hard to use the crane. And it's also terrible on fuel. The diesel will be a lot better, more efficient on fuel. What I'm going to be doing in the back of the vehicle, in the engine bay, is I'm actually going to be changing the engine with in mind that someone in the future may want to put the petrol back in. So all the loom and all the bits and pieces, all the mounts, everything I'm going to keep and put to one side. I'm not going to chop anything out. I'm going to change it in a very sensible way that in the future, if someone wants to put the petrol engine back in this one, they can. And in the meantime, I'm going to have the turbo diesel in it, which is going to be absolutely useful for all the things I want to do with it. It's time to see if this engine will start to move away from the gearbox. Everything is undone, all the mounts are undone. So I'm just going to slide this little bar in here, and hopefully you're going to see a gap there appear. Yes, look at that, look. She's away. No problem at all, so that's come off lovely. Just need to move that back a little bit more, and then we can lift this engine out. Going to try and use my little mini digger, but I'm not overly sure how well this is going to go because she is only 2.5 ton. She's a bit on the small side, but it's worth a little try. If not, I'll have to go down and borrow my brother's forklift. Away. And now we can show you what's left of the engine bay, which is going to be an enormous mess. So all of this is going to have to be cleaned out. A lot of junk in here that's fallen down over the years, and a lot of these pipes are for the oil sump on the Rolls-Royce. Is actually, it's got a remote sump, so the oil is actually stored in an oil tank right up there behind the cab. So a lot of these pipes can come out. We won't need all of these ones anymore. And then this is the compressor, which is on the front of the other engine. Well, the diesel engine has a built-in one, so we don't need this. And then this is the piece that we have to change. So this fits the Rolls-Royce. This bit unbolts, comes out. This bit, and then the other bit off the other engine, the adapter fits on here, and yeah, and we can fit the diesel engine. Right, going to start emptying some of all this junk in the bottom here. There's no real easy way of doing it other than just getting stuck straight in with a trowel. All sorts of rubbish. But who knows, there might be something quite cool lost in the bottom here. And that is that off and removed. You can see there the gearbox oil coming out, which doesn't look a bad thing to get rid of that. That looks like it's got a lot of water contamination. So yeah, we'll get rid of this now and we'll clean all this engine bay right out. Right, we're going to move on to sandblasting the vehicle now. So before we start that, one thing we do have to do is we have to remove all these windows. We have to take all the glass out. The sandblaster will unfortunately abrade the glass and make it all go misty. So they're all going to have to come out. These front ones are actually stuck in, so they are a little bit of a pain to get out. We're going to have to cut all the old mastic off, force them out. These ones actually unbolt, they're not too bad. And then also on the front we've got all the little lenses. We'll take as many off of them as we can, and the main headlights, which I'll probably just cover up. You can see here there's just a few places that are going to need welding. There's not many on this. It's a pretty good cab actually. The whole vehicle's in not bad condition. It's not in great condition. There's quite a bit to do on the hull, but you see a lot of these now that have been left outside for as long as this one has that are really in poor condition, which are kind of borderline not being able to save really, whereas this one's totally savable. Does going to need quite a bit of work, but it's going to be a very useful and good vehicle when it's done. So there's one. I will quickly run through my little sandblasting setup I have here. This is the main compressor, and not an overly big compressor, but it's got enough power for what we want. And then this is the blast pot. This is where you put your grit, which you're going to blast with. Fill this up in here, and then it comes out of this hose down to the nozzle. You actually control the flow via this thing here. That's your trigger. That turns the air and the blast on and off. And yeah, it's what else have we got? This is the filter system, so air is also goes to this, and then you can actually regulate that, and that goes to the air fed hat. So to keep all that nasty dust and everything all away from you, wear this, and that's an air fed helmet, which is keeping your lungs nice and clean. I'll also just quickly show you the grit which I'm going to be using. So this is a recycled glass grit, which is a medium to fine grade. And yeah, it's a nice product this. It's not that bad to get rid of. It's not as toxic as some abrasives which are used in blasting. So I've done all the front of the cab and all down this side, which is really good. It has blown a few holes, which I knew it would create a few that I didn't know about. They are very small, but we will deal with them at a later date. For now, we're just gonna get some undercoat on all this now before any rain or moisture comes, because it's been a very, very nice dry day today. No moisture in the air whatsoever, perfect for blasting. And yeah, that's all that side done. Haven't done very much of the rear. I've done the entire roof, which I'll show you, which has come up really nicely, which is there. Done all the roof and the hatches. Again, a few holes created in the hatches, but nothing that we can't fix up. And tomorrow I've just got to do the crane and the entire other side, which shouldn't be too bad. That's achievable. That should be able to get done before the rain comes. Right, this is sandblasting day 2 now, and we've actually got a little bit of rain forecast later on, so that's rather annoying, but it is Cornwall, so it does rain here all the time. So what I've done is I've moved the sandblasting kit out of the shed. I'm going to complete the other bits, and then hopefully just before the rain comes, chuck it back in the empty bay in the shed, and it should all be all good. Get some undercoat on it before the rain comes, and yeah, let's see how we get on. And here is the crane as well. Ooh, nicely blasted up, and that's come up really good, as you'd expect with it being nice metal. Nice little Atlas badge there as well, that's come up nice. And I covered up the plate which shows you all the different weights and that you can lift at various distances away. Didn't want to get that too blasted away because that's only a light aluminium. And yeah, that's all come up really good as well, and we're going to chuck some undercoat on now. Right, I've just had to quickly push the Stalwart back in the shed because, as you can see, our lovely Cornish summer weather has returned. So yeah, just managed to get that second coat of undercoat on, which was really good in the last final 10 minutes. A quick rush around to chuck all the tools away now before everything gets really soaking, and we will have to continue with the top coat another nice dry day. Right, it is another fresh day, the sun is shining, it's nice and dry. Stalwart is back out the shed, and today we are going to be putting on the top coat of NATO green. I actually managed to put on 2 coats today. It's basically taken all day to achieve that, but there's a lot of little tricky bits on the Stalwart to make sure you've covered, so I've done in all around all the bits and pieces, underneath, everywhere where it needs paint. There's no real set pattern on how the black camouflage should actually look. I got a really good book here which shows different examples of how the camouflage was. And yeah, I think it was a bit down to the crews really, as how they put the black on, how much black and how much green, but I think it's just whatever looks right really. So just gonna have a go at that and just do it as I think it looks. I've also got these really good photos which I actually forgot to show you in the first video. So these are photos of how the vehicle actually looked. This is the actual vehicle, these come with it, and yeah, this is I believe in the 90s sometime, and yeah, it looks really smart there. If I can get it back to looking like that, I mean, that looks absolutely fantastic. Which, I mean, it's almost there now. It's just a case of finishing this black, putting some stickers on, and getting her all back to how it was. I'm not sure if I'll ever get the interior as tidy as that again, but and of course they got one of it swimming, which is really good. It looks quite low on the front compared to the Mark 1, but I think that's just because of the extra windows. But unless it's also the extra crane weight as well. The crane weight's probably dipping the front down a little bit, but definitely the Mark 1 sits higher on the front than that. That looks quite scary with the old water there in the windows, but there you go. We are a fair way off swimming, but today we're going to get it looking something like this. that is all the painting now complete, and we can now show you the finished look of how it's come out. I kind of made it up a little bit as I went along. I just did what I thought seemed right, really. I did the corners black and then some black stripes down the sides. Left all the wheels green because I just think they look better with all green wheels. And then a black stripe in the middle, and then the black rear quarter as well. And yeah, no, I'm really pleased with that. I think it's looking really good. The crane I didn't actually do camouflage at all. I've just left that green. I just think it looks better green. And then this side, another similar as the other side. Yeah, looking forward to getting the windows back in now. That will really complete it. And then we also have the number to go on the front and the little Union Jack sticker, which should go here. Put all the light lenses back in and the mirrors back on. And that's going to look really, really fantastic. Also given the new engine a couple of coats of paint. This is all smartened up with duck egg blue as the colour. That's what the MOD call this colour of paint. And yeah, I didn't sandblast this engine because sandblasting engines is actually a really bad idea. I did it to a tractor engine once years ago and just had no end of trouble afterwards with all little bits leaking, all pipes and joints and gaskets. Everything on an engine basically leaks after you sandblast it. So all I did was give the engine a quick degrease and a wire brush off. Just cleaned it up as best I could. And that's just smartened it right up. So that'll look really tidy now when we drop this new engine in. Right, I think that's it for this one. So that is the Mk2 Stalwart restoration project, well underway now. All painted up, and I'm really pleased with the way all that's come out. And yeah, in the next video we are going to be fitting the turbo diesel engine into this vehicle. So fit in the engine, and then I'll finally be able to show you how the crane works, lift something up, and we'll give it a drive around. So yeah, don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we will catch you again soon for more military vehicle videos.